Hey guys, this is NineSpot here for my second edition of Ask EG, sponsored by Intel. Whenever I play against teams I've never seen before, I struggle to pick up what kind of defensive setups they use. How can I learn to read their positions better during matches or scrims? Really, the more you've experienced the competitive scene in CS, you kind of understand the general setups that a lot of teams run, and really to pick it up on how the other team's playing, a lot of teams like the first gun round, or even pistol rounds, they'll play it really slow and try to feel out other teams. Like on Dust 2, for example, it's really easy to figure out the setup because if you're a terrorist and you kind of take over mid, you can feel it out, and then you can either kind of listen long to see if they're playing long, or see if they're playing cat, maybe throw a couple flashes to try to get some kind of movement and see where they are playing. Because if they're on cat, there's probably not going to be anyone long, so they're going to have like maybe op or top A, op and long, and then two on cat with Colts. So it's really just kind of watching some demos and seeing the basic setups, and then probing areas with flashes and smokes or nades, and kind of listening to see how the other team's playing. And it's important to, especially it's important. A lot of people don't really pay attention. The sound is really critical to determine how someone's CT setup is. Like, for example, again on Dust 2, if your job is to kind of scout out long, a lot of players will throw a flashbang, just kind of try to start the CTs, the nade long. And if there's two nades long, you automatically know that no one's playing on a cat most of the time. So you can just take cat fast and then you can hold it. So really, what's the question? Again, it's really just to kind of play it slow, and kind of think in your head, okay, there's two cat, who's covering long, probably best. There's a guy top A, op and long. So let's go to the next question. I always see Team EG players moving a lot faster than I do in matches, but it still seems like the other teams hear me a lot. When should I be running and when should I be walking when pushing to a bomb site or trying to flank someone? The answer is really about map awareness. Also, it's about kind of going into a server with a friend of yours and kind of just testing out, running around and when they can hear you and when they can't. It's pretty important because it plays a lot in timing in matches. Because if you're a half a second too late, or a half a second too early, it could turn them in the round. So it's important that you kind of just go in with a friend and kind of just play around and see where they can hear you and see where they can't. And then in a match or a scrim where you can run and where you can't. I've seen you win a lot of 1v2s and other clutch rounds. Do you have any general tips for playing in these kinds of situations? I think a good tip would be to kind of play slower and think it through. A lot of players will rush through it and it's sloppy, but sometimes to go faster you have to go slower. And it's really like in clutch situations, it's almost like chess. Like if the bomb is planted, it's your move, and if you tap it and then you're saying it, you moved your piece and now it's their move to do something. So it's really playing it, thinking it through on what the other players, where they might be, and what would you do in the situation if you're the other opposite side. If you're trying to defuse the bomb, then you have to think through what the T's are trying to do, and what spots commonly they play, and kind of working about it that way. And the last question, if you could only pick one of your new teammates from Team EG to play by your side, who would it be? That's a tough one. If I had to pick one, I'd probably pick Che, just because he's so much fun to play with on LAN, because he's always having fun and always, goofing around almost. So if I had to pick someone, it would definitely be Che, just to sit by him, because it'd definitely be a good time.